Okay, part two. There's just a little bit of the moon. Hold on one sec. Moon left. It's up over this. Isn't it beautiful? It's so beautiful. It's up on the hill. Yeah, I just stepped in front of a branch. It's going to be going down. Um, yeah, it's gorgeous. I'll take a little walk while I talk. So I was mentioning that I was telling people how to get in touch with their spirit guides. And basically, all you have to do is either ask them a question or just ask them if they're trying to get a message to you. And if they are trying to get a message to you, no, ask them for a sign. And so we were out camping in Quartzsite in the winter during the rock show. And so this guy was walking back to his campsite, and he decided to ask his guides for a sign. And he asked his guides for pink flamingos. And he gets back to his campsite. It was a little ways away. And you won't believe what happened. He was sitting there, and a piece of paper came flying by in the wind, and it had pink flamingos all over it. And he's going, wow, that cannot be a coincidence like that. It just can't be. No, this is one of the many. Because I used to sit around saying, oh no, my guides told me that. And so he'd ask me to ask my guides questions, and I'd answer them, and I get the answers for him. And I said, your guides want to talk to you, so why don't you just hook up with them and they'll talk to you? And he's like, well, how do you do that? And then I told him, and when I saw him the next morning, he had to come over and tell me, oh my God. He said, I asked for pink flamingos, and I got back to my site, and guess what I saw? Pink flamingos on a piece of paper flying by my feet, just, flying in the wind. He said a whole bunch of pink flamingos all over this piece of paper. And I'm going, yeah, that does not surprise me. It's the way they show you things it's never really subtle. I had this one guy ask for this. He wanted to see a woman with pink hair. And boy, her hair was the brightest pink we ever saw. I mean, she was dressed kind of like a clown, but her hair was bright pink. You couldn't miss this woman for nothing. And he said, I've never seen anyone with hair quite that pink, And I'm like, I have never seen too many people with pink hair, but I guess, it happens a lot more these days than it did before. But anyway, yeah, they're not subtle about the signs they show you. And they really are trying to get a message through to you. There's a great awakening going on right now. It's an exciting time to be alive, I keep hearing. And I sure hope you're not a metal ox in Chinese astrology. Or if you are, even better. Then I can help you more than anyone. Because being stubborn on this awakening is not going to help you. Being loyal isn't going to help you either. I mean, all kinds of things you thought were good qualities kind of stick you in the mud, so to speak. Been there a long time, so I know. And my guides are chiming in saying, yep, you're right. They crack me up. My guides are so funny. They have the greatest sense of humor, and they want us to be able to laugh through this because sometimes it can be quite hard. And I'm just putting it like they always used to. It's not quite hard. Sometimes it just feels downright impossible. And all you want to do is just scream at the universe. And I'm not going to mince my words. I'm going to tell my story the way it was. And believe me, no one is more aggravated with themselves than me. Because, I fought it. I fought it tooth and nail. See, here's the thing. Reactive abuse is real. And my whole family was using it against me my whole life. And unbeknownst to me, it's where you get unregulated because they pushed your buttons, and then they get regulated, So then, okay, here's a good one. My brother came from New York because he lost his job to come move in with me. And then my boyfriend was a real butthead, so I decided to leave him. So we both got a U-Haul and went out to Arizona where my sister lives. And it's the most remote place in the continental United States because it's like 5-hour drive from Vegas, and there's really no other way to get there than to just drive that extra 5 hours. You can't, it's not like there's a big airport or anything. It's Lake Powell is where it's at. And so we moved out there, and he and I got like a trailer, like a mobile home. And my brother, he took my door off my hinges because he didn't want me to be able to talk on my phone and him not be able to hear what I was saying. And he took the radio out of my room because he is such a controlling butthead. Then I paid him rent that day, and I went to the grocery store, and I came back, and he threw my food away because he didn't want potato chips in his house. Right? And I'm like, well, I paid you rent this morning, so that should give me some space in the kitchen, don't you think? And, I was just used to him always being like this, and my dad being like this, and my other brother being like this, and my sister being like this. So it was, didn't seem abnormal to me at all. I was used to having to fight for everything with those guys. And that night, I was yelling at him because I wanted him to put the door back on the hinges to my bedroom. And he tackled me down, and he started slapping my face and spitting on me. And I was screaming for help for the neighbors to call the police, and I guess they did. The police came, and they took me away because he all of a sudden calmed down and got all regulated when I got dysregulated. So I was the one screaming, going, he held me down, he did this and that. And they believed everything he said. He had bruised knuckles. I had broken ribs. And, that's not the first time this has happened to me. They get me all upset, all dysregulated, and it makes them all happy. Because that's how you beat a narcissist, is the rage the pain that they inflict on you, and the rage that you start to emit. That's what they feed off of, the energies. And so when I got out of jail, I went to a women's shelter. I went and got my stuff from the house. He wasn't there when I got there. I got some of my stuff, and I went to a women's shelter. The first day I was there, all my stuff got stolen. So I went back to my house to get more stuff. And my sister was out front. She had just pulled up. And I said, Jeff's in there right now. I want you to go in there. And no, I want you to stay out here. And when I go in there, I want you to listen to what he says to me, how he treats me. And you won't believe how horrible he has gotten. And she goes running in the house, and she says, Jeff, Laura's out front. And she wants me to stand out there and listen to what you say to her. She is being really weird. And my brother comes out there and starts pushing me and shoving me down the street. I didn't have my purse. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any clothes. I didn't have any shoes. And I didn't have any place to stay. And I wasn't about to ask my sister for a place to stay because her husband is even more narcissistic than she is. And see, I didn't know they were narcissists at the time. It's just that that's how they always treated me, So I was used to it. So I'm like staying at the park, needing a pack of cigarettes. So I called my mom, and said, Mom, can you wire me some money? I really need a pack of cigarettes. Marcy and Jeff are being crazy, and they won't even let me in the house. She calls me back a little bit later and says, well, you didn't pay any rent, and Jeff's really upset about it because you haven't paid any rent at all. And I said, this is the second month we both paid rent. You know, I paid rent both times, Mom. And she said, well, and then my dad had a heart attack right there, and the whole family blamed it on me. And my brother and sister both flew out there. Of course, they locked up their houses and they weren't about to let me have a place to stay while they were gone. And I didn't have any money to fly out there, so I didn't get to go. So they all of them got to sit around and talk about how I gave my dad a heart attack, you know? Well, I hitchhiked out of there because I wasn't about to stay. But that's how it is with that's just a typical day with my family. And I didn't realize that they were narcissists. That, I just thought that's what everyone had to deal with from their brothers and sisters. I thought being thrown under the bus was an everyday occurrence for everybody. Just anyway, that right there. And you know why they did this? You know why my brother started it on me really bad that day? Because I got a new boyfriend, and he was so rich and so cute that my brother and sister were jealous. So they were tag teaming me really bad for 2 days because they were both jealous of my new boyfriend. Well, needless to say, I left town and nothing came of the new boyfriend. But God, he he flew balloons in the balloon regattas, and I was going to get to go in the balloon regatta, and those two were really, really upset about it. And see, I didn't know that. I thought they were happy for me, but no, they were not happy for me. They were very upset about it. So that's why they started abusing me so that I would have to leave town. And they knew that my mom would believe them and not me because that's how it always has been. It's been that way since the day I was born. She's never once believed me. She gaslights the crap out of me and tells me that they would never do something like that I must be wrong. And when I looked back over everything, I don't remember my mother saying anything to me that wasn't gaslighting me. Nothing. I'd say, Mom, when I was a baby, what did you do? Because I had just had kids. And I said, what did you do when I was teething? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't recall. I don't remember. I don't recall. I don't remember. Those were all she ever said to me. Every question I asked her about us. And when I was going through the awakening, I was asking my guides why, when children cry, why does it grate me so badly? Why can I not stand it? I mean, I just cannot stand it. And then they showed me that my mother used to leave me crying in my crib for long periods of time, and that's why I don't like to hear babies cry. And that's why it reminds me, I guess it was, okay, so that's what CPTSD is. CPTSD, different from PSTD. PSTD is where you get flashbacks of the actual thing that happened to you, the event. And CPTSD is where you get flashbacks of the emotions that were connected to the event. So you may not remember the event, but you remember the emotions. So that's why I can't stand to hear a baby cry. And that blew me away because I couldn't even believe it. I'm like, my mother? No, she would never do that. Yeah, that and much, much worse. And see, I had repressed all of this. I had repressed it and much more. And it was coming out in my life in negative ways. Every okay, I'm 63 now, so every relationship I had with a man was either psychotic narcissist, covert narcissist, grandiose narcissist. I've had them all. What else? Not the avoiding. The one who, the victim narcissist. I forget what it's called. But anyway, all failed relationships. One of my children is a narcissist. And the other one has been parental alienated against me. And my stepdaughter, her father was, let's just not even talk about him. Let's not even go the first word. He was terrible. I'll just say terrible, and that's putting it so lightly. And she's an empath like me. We feel things deeply. They call us highly sensitive people, whatever you might want to call it. I had no idea that that was me. But when I was hearing it described, it was to a T, me. And reactive abuse has been used against me my whole life, and it's gotten me in a lot of trouble. And when I found out that not only were my family all narcissists and using me and abusing me and stealing from me, and that they also were using my own emotions against me, and that it cost me, well, just recently it cost me 6 years of my life. 6 years of my life it cost me. Not to mention all the years before that. And every relationship I've ever had has been highly abusive because I was just so used to taking so much abuse. I just thought that's what all relationships were like. People are just idiots. You can't fix stupid, that kind of shit. Oops, sorry. Don't mean to cuss. But anyway, I have a lot of things to share with you. And sorry for just the campfire tonight, but you really can't see anything else out here. I don't think I'm going to try turning it around. But the moon... Oh, shoot. Oh, I guess you can see me because of the fire. Okay. I love fires. I come out here all the time at night. Sometimes even on new moons where it's so pitch black you can't see anything. But I've got a lot of stories, and then I'll put them all together for you. You guys, if you want to know how we're all connected, how we are all connected, I'm going to share that with you too. It's going to be a little bit later down the road. I'm going to have to be on my way to Austin then. But I would love to share it with you. Just know if you're going through relationships like this, if you're going through a dark night of the soul especially, it's where you're shown all the stuff that's always been there, but it was just in the dark so you didn't really see it, or the betrayal blindness was keeping you stuck. But if you're just now seeing this stuff and you didn't even know it was there, and all of it just blows you away, especially the abuse that you went through that you can't even recall because your childhood has a bunch of missing years or just a lot of missing things. I'm going to help you through it because I've been going through it, and I've made all the mistakes you don't want to make. All of the mistakes you don't want to make. Because it just keeps you stuck longer and longer, and it hurts more and more, and it's harder and harder as you go. If you don't step up when you have the opportunity to step up, it gets way harder. So it's been 6 years for me now, and stepping up almost feels impossible when in the beginning I could have done it. I was just being stubborn and pig-headed. You know, us metal oxes, we like to dig our heels in and say, not until I decide that's what's best for me. Or, you know, and even when we do decide, hey, maybe that wouldn't be such a bad thing, or maybe that would be what's best for me, we don't do it just because now we're stuck in our way. And it's not necessarily that I didn't want to admit I was wrong. I just couldn't stop reacting every time my buttons were pushed. I just started cussing. And even though I knew I was taking the bait, I couldn't stop doing it. Because I don't have another log on it. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff I was dealing with. I just couldn't. I have been reacting like that way for 63 years. It's real hard to stop being who you are. But, you know, my guides started showing me how you can rewire your brain and things like this. But that didn't sound like fun to me, you know. I wasn't having none of it. Just go fuck yourself and see you later, bye, bitch, you know. And yeah, I was using all these foul words and just really mad at the world. And my way was getting me dug deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And believe me, I feel like God was just checking in with my guide saying, how's she doing? You know, like a month later. Oh, she's still out there in the desert cussing her ass off. Okay, I'll check in later. You know? I just kept feeling like that was happening. You know, like he would check in every once in a while with my guides and they'd just shake their head and look down at the ground or something, you know, and he'd just walk off. I know they don't really walk and stuff like that. I'm just saying. This is what a picture I had in my head of God just shaking his head and walking away. You know, it's like, when's she going to stop cussing? Because it was 3 years later when I finally, well, I didn't really even stop 3 years later. But anyway, I don't want you to go through what I went through, because when they say you're creating your own reality, they don't lie. Man, did I, I created snakes in my tent. I created more things than you could possibly imagine. And it's real easy to match the vibrations of snakes in your tent. It's real hard to match the vibrations of winning the lottery. Two different things. But boy, those, getting my car taken and my campground burnt to the ground and snakes in my tent, that stuff is real easy to manifest. So, if you're going through some stuff right now and you're having a hard time of it, I wish you would keep coming back to my channel and thumbs it up, please. Because I can help you so much. I'm putting it all out there. What they're asking you is to choose yourself at every turn in the road. And going out to the desert and cussing everything that there is not choosing yourself. That's quite the opposite. And I found that out day after day. And I said, you know what? That's okay. I'm used to being attacked. I'm used to having bad things happen, you know, because it's just when you have nothing but narcissists in your life, and I mean every person save one son who was parental alienated against me, and one daughter who, one stepdaughter, who I wasn't talking to that much because, I'll get into that later, but anyway, every other person in my life was a narcissist. Every single one. Everyone. So you can imagine, I had so much brain fog that I literally could not hang on to my keys, remember when I was supposed to be somewhere. I would miss appointments. It was just so bad. And you can't heal when you're in fight or flight mode. And when you're getting massive chemical dumps to your brain, it doesn't work like that. And especially when you're going through trauma bonds that you're trying to break. Because that put me in the fetal position. I didn't even move for 3 months. I was comatose, practically. Couldn't even walk my dog. So, if you're going through things like that, please, please stand by. I've got a lot to share, and I can help you streamline this dark night of the soul so you can get out of it and start really learning how to live. And believe me, as dark as it was, that's how light it's going to be. You have no idea. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen it, if you know what I mean. Don't get stuck on the tarot, though, because you can get stuck on that stuff. Once you start intuiting everything before it happens, don't keep watching the tarot. They don't want you to. They want you to start trusting your own intuition and being silent, meditating, things like that, because that's when they talk to you. That's when their voice comes through the loudest, is when you're quiet. And plus, we narcissistic abuse, not that we're victims, and we'll get into that later, but people who have suffered that, we are addicted to drama. And I'll tell you what, out there in the desert, it was real quiet. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. And maybe that's why I was cussing so severely. I think my buttons were just pushed every day of my life, and it was just a normal reaction for me to just start going off every time something upset me. I didn't know how to regulate. I didn't want to regulate. I was mad. How could it be 63 years and all of a sudden I just finally see what the heck's been going on? You know, actually it was like 60 years. You know, it was 58 years. Anyway, it sent me. It really did. And I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. About anything. But I can help you because I've made every mistake there is to make. And, you know, my problem was I was stuck. I was stuck. I mean, it was just like I set my feet in cement, I let it harden, and then I stood there and I took it. You know, go ahead, dish it out again, see if I care, you know, that kind of stuff. Yep, I can take whatever you dish out. Oh boy. Yeah, well, that hurt like a bitch. And I am not lying. And, you know, I see how stupid I look, but there's nothing I can do. You know, it's like it was that bad. I mean, I've seen stubborn, and stubborn is ugly. It's like jealousy. It's really ugly, you know, but I couldn't stop doing it. It was horrible. Oh, shoot, my water's tops on my water bottle. Anyway, if you guys are going through it, or if you know someone that is, you know, give them a heads up about this channel, because I have a lot of things to share that will help you get through this dark night of the soul or this experience with narcissists, or anything else that might be going on in your life. Go ahead and ask me a question. I'll bet you I probably know something about it, or my guides could tell me, because I've gotten kind of tight with them lately. And now that I stopped cussing them, they were always nice to me. It was just me being a bitch, you know what I mean? Because I just couldn't take the pain anymore, but I couldn't stop dishing it out to myself either, you know? It's kind of a horrible place to be. And I think a lot of us do get stuck there for a little while. So if you're going through it, please leave a comment and I will get back to you. I promise you that. Anyway, I love everyone out there. And stay tuned for how we're all connected, because, I mean, when you start getting intuitive hits, make sure that you pay attention to those, because if you don't, you're going to regret it. And I'll tell you a lot more about that too. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. I will go hiking tomorrow night, and first I'll get a really neat place, and I'll be there right when the moon comes up, because now this side the sky's getting lighter, and the sun's going to be coming up over there. Yeah, up over there. It's so gorgeous out here right now. But tomorrow night I'll go out at night and I'll secure a nice little campsite so I can talk with the fire going and the full moon coming up. That'll be fun. I enjoy making these videos. I've been making them for many years. New channel, new day, new me. And, share what's going on with you so I can help you out. Or if you want me to make a video on something, that'd be cool. Anyway, talk to your guides. Ask them for a sign. And once you see the sign, you'll want to ask them questions and you guys can kind of get your own little... I use the breeze. I use crickets or birds or a siren. If a siren goes by and you're asking a question, that's probably your answer. You got to learn to intuit and read signs around you. Anything from nature, anything like breezes or stars or... there's just so many things they can talk to you through. And it's going to blow you away. Ask for any sign you want. And I'll bet you anything within 10 hours you get that sign. I'll bet you do. And then you can start, don't cuss them because, you're going to find out soon enough that that it's not their fault, it's yours. They're just the messengers. And that you put yourself right where you are, and I'm thinking, how could anybody do this to themselves? There's no way in the world, but I was just making it worse and worse and worse. It didn't have to be that bad, it's pretty bad when you lose everybody, but it didn't have to be that bad, I was beating myself up and creating my own snakes and my own misfortunes, losing cars, homes, all kinds of stuff, but anyway, you don't have to go that far. You really don't. And I can help you. So, my name's Laura, and I love you all. And I can't wait to show you how we're all connected. I'll see you guys next time.